Hi, I wanted to give you some video feedback. I'm going to look at this as a first-time site visitor and just check out how it's working and what needs to be corrected for your final. If you're getting this too late, then you will be able to, I'll extend your due date a little bit on your final if that's needed. But keep in mind the last day to submit for anything is going to be Friday at the very latest because grades are going to be due in a few days after that. All right, so nice, good job with the color. You do want to put your logo up here in the header instead of back here. Clients do not want their logos cropped ever, so keep that in mind. That's useful for you. Remove the search, login, shopping cart, all those extra buttons needed to come out. So logo up there. Good job so far with the order of your menu. Let's see, your navigation. And these feel a little bit like AI. We've got the watermark though, so maybe that is a photo. Although be mindful, some people put AI on their, available for photos. But otherwise, great. This is not an option that was on the client menu, so we really have to stick to the client, right? Whatever they gave us is really important. And let's see, the fictitious disclaimer would go down here. These would be linked up to the client page, the Facebook and the Instagram for sure. So let's look at the, we need more. And it looks like you've got an online store that we don't need. So what's going to happen is this page would need to be built. You can use a blank if you want, but it needs to be built. And the way you get to a blank is that when you're here, you go to not add elements. You go to pages and menu and you add a page. So you can add a page. It can be blank if you want. And then you would just fill that in with all your content. There is the restaurant, but you would only add something like this. All right. Now, when you do this, it's really important to double check and make sure that you're not adding pages you don't need, because that will just slow your site. For example, we have this online ordering. That isn't what we actually want. So the way you get rid of things, for example, this cart over here, bag would have to come out too, but you would come over and look at your pages and menu. So here's the restaurant pages that we added. That was the app that we just added. You can delete anything like this by choosing that. But here's the thing, we don't want online orders. So let's delete that. And that takes a second. And that bag just disappeared along with that page. And let's see, what do we want? Okay, so now we just have this. And this you can fill in with the content you were provided and images that you might find. Okay, so this is where we normally are. Here's the menu, the new one. This was the blank, which you could build if you wanted, or you could add this restaurant page and remove some of the things. So then we can rename this menu and bring that up to where it would be. Okay, ignore the portfolio for this. All right, so in doing this, this is a different kind of page, but in this situation, You don't have to put images for everything if you can remove that. So you manage the menu, bringing it here, edit menu details, okay. Let's see, items, and this is where you're going to add. Okay, you can click or you can select the edit. Add the name of it, whatever taco it is, fish taco or whatever. Add the item ingredients that we talk about, okay, etc., etc. You know, blah blah. And so then you have these if you want. If something is vegan, or you know, you can add those as well. Gluten-free, that may be on your menu, I believe. All right, so whoops, and your price, etc. And you can add your image. You can use images from online if you need to, you know, from Unsplash or something like that. Be very careful using AI generated, because they are not accurate and they look AI and people know it. And of course, food is not AI. So we have to, you know, be careful about when we do that. All right, so then that's how you're going to go through and do each of them that you put in there. Like I said, you don't have to use all of them. You could delete some of these so that when you go to your menu page, let's see here, let me get out of this. You don't have so many. And what that means is that you could then, once you delete some of those, you could add a strip. Let's see. A section somewhere. And let's say something like okay, that's a little more really. Let's have a blank one. So we have this here. You can make it a little smaller. So if you come down here, if you had this here, you can add a section like that, or you could be down here and you could add a section that way. But if you can get this to show up, then you're better doing it that way. So maybe you delete a lot of these, not a lot, just, you know, this has quite a bit and you don't have that many tacos, but put all your tacos there. And then here you can, let's see, add, which is the same as selecting this, and you can add some text, add paragraph text. This is good. Drag that over, and then you could list, for example, your sides. That's kind of large text. But you could add text, you could add a heading, whatever matches your particular website. That's a little big. I'm going to bring that down, something like that, and 48 is more even. And then if I wanted to, if I didn't want anything larger than this, then I could make that my heading 1 instead of the 85, right? So if I went to this, I could save it to my theme, and now all of my heading 1s are going to be like that. That would be the biggest size throughout my site. So I could do that, and then I would add the paragraph text. You don't need collapsible, and it's good to stay with your theme. I'm going to do this. So sides, and you can start to list here. Then to reduce scrolling, you can have 2 columns, right? So you can add your sides there. So you don't have to have images of everything. Okay, anyway, that's one way to do it. All right, so let's go back to your home page. That's where you're going to spend the most time. This is the biggest page. Okay. All right, they're not in Atlanta, so this is either, I think it's just AI generated. Okay, it's not in Georgia. Watch the spelling. All right. So there's content given to you. That's what you have to use. It's not just a taco thing. Okay. So this is not their story. This is probably AI generated. And it should be left aligned. So let's remove this. Okay. And make sure you have the times. And yeah, this is probably from the template. So those are the things you'll want to work on. And again, use the getting started. If you go back here to getting started, that's probably the quickest way for you to find it. You need the client folder. Okay, that client folder has everything in it that you need. All right, read all these, use these. And here are the images. All right, okay. Keep pushing. Allow several hours to work on it. You may not need that many, but you might. So start from the beginning and work your way through, but avoid AI. People score lower. I tell students this all the time. So it's in one of your videos under the announcements for the month, but it is important to ignore AI because it's just going to cause lower scores, right? You got to use the client, the actual client's folder, because that's what people are going to hire you for. All right? All right. Good luck. Contact me with any questions and give it a try. I think you'll find it's more fun to please a client than it is to let AI make something. All right.